super cloudy and raining in some parts today. I actually quickly did a drone flight just in case it starts pouring. And with that in mind, what did I read today? This first one I read actually dealt with flying drones, but as you know, a lot more places are restricting them. And is this a trend now where they want police permission? How about this? This one says, no more drone flying at wedding parties in Jaipur without police permission. It makes you wonder, is this one of those monkey see, monkey do situations? It says, drone flying in Jaipur is now under strict regulation. The city's police have prohibited the use of drones at events such as weddings and parties. In the latest directive from the additional police commissioner of Jaipur, Kanwar Rashtradeep, the only drones permitted in Jaipur will be nano drones. Even for these, operators must secure permission 24 hours prior to their flight. How crazy is that? It says the decision follows a notable increase in drone activity during various Jaipur events. There may also have been reports of drones being used in criminal activities in different parts of the country. Security agencies have issued repeated advisories about potential drone-related threats, which played a part in shaping this directive. That's insane. You could literally, in this case from what I'm reading, you could be flying a toy and you need permission for that? It says as of August 25th, 2021, according to the DGCA, drones are categorized into 5 groups. In Jaipur, 4 of these categories are now banned. Only nano drones might receive authorization. For those using drones in other parts of India, there are specific guidelines. Drones must be registered on the DGCA website, obtain a unique identification number, and secure an unmanned aircraft operation permit. Additionally, operators need security clearance from the Ministry of Home Affairs. In Jaipur, however, even with these clearances, drones cannot be operated except for the nano category. And they say here too, which makes you wonder, is this really appropriate in terms of police resources? It says for those operating nano drones, they must notify the local police about their intended location 24 hours in advance and ensure the drone doesn't exceed 50 feet, approximately 15 meters, and doesn't enter restricted zones. It's virtually ban them all. This is one of those things where people always say, oh, this is okay, register this, do this little test. Look what happens afterwards in various places. You basically can't fly anywhere afterwards over the narrative of safety and all that. Even for small quote nano drones, toys and all that. This is crazy. I know again, a lot of people before, fake gurus, lobbyists, and there's some people that follow them like crazy in the sense of what they say, this is dangerous, we need these regulations. People are like, yeah, it makes sense, just do it. Look what happens afterwards. So who knows if that'll be a permanent thing afterwards. It's one of those things, again, people take their rights and stuff for granted, huh? And then I was reading this, which makes you think, shouldn't you be focused on stuff like this where people are actually getting hurt and all that? This one says, 2 injured following drone attack in Odessa region days before grain deal talks. So this is the war between Ukraine and Russia, and it kind of implies here, this drone attack, they're trying to affect the whole world, because it says Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's chief of staff Andriy Yermak described the assault as part of Russian drive to provoke a food crisis and hunger in the world. Moscow has not commented on the attack. Elsewhere in Ukraine, 2 people were killed and 2 others hurt during Russian shelling on Sunday on the village of Volodar and the Donetsk area. Again, with all this stuff happening in the world, don't you think stuff like that should be the focus, not going after literally, for example, kids flying toys and all that. And then I was reading this randomly, which sounded kind of interesting. Imagine this. This one says, live parasitic worm plucked from Australian woman's brain. Doctors in Australia have found and removed a live parasitic worm roughly 8 centimeters long from a woman's brain. It's the first known case of its kind. Imagine discovering this if you were the surgeon, for example. It says, just get it out of my forceps. Neurosurgeon Harry Priyabandi found and removed the parasite with forceps during a biopsy. I used tumor-holding forceps and lifted out something that I definitely was not expecting. A linear squiggling line, Bandy told DW Tuesday. And my junior doctor said, is that an artery? Because that's what it looked like. And I said, it's not an artery. We're nowhere near an artery. And I noticed it was moving and I went, just get it out of my forceps. How does it even get there, huh? It says, asked whether it was fair to assume the worm had been moving around inside. Bandy said it was, and their scans demonstrated as much. The woman's symptoms had started as lung, liver, and abdominal problems, Bandy said, but evolved towards problems like depression, presumably as the animal's activities kept affecting different parts of the brain. And then think about this, it's kind of interesting because it says her psychiatrist had conducted CT scans in which what was later identified as the worm was first visible, and later MRI scans to prepare for the procedure had then shown how the abnormality was moving. So can you imagine that if that's kind of the case, like what it says here, the person's suffering from all these, I guess, depressions, mental issues and all that, and you think, okay, it's only psychological, go get some rest, but it happens to be something is actually literally in the person's head. It says when you operate on someone's brain and you take a biopsy or something, you never expect to encounter something living. Dr. Sanjay Sanayake, who co-authored the study with Bandy, told Reuters, it was certainly something we'll never forget. It's one of those things with doctors too, I guess, because many times you hear those stories where you go up to a doctor or someone like that, you explain you have an issue, they think they know everything, they're really just like, oh, whatever, it's because of this. But I guess when you thoroughly do the research, when the person's complaining and all that, you might find something different. So it's kind of an interesting thought in that sense, because there are a lot of medical professionals that have that attitude of, I know everything, don't ask me, just do this. Kind of crazy though, a worm and so forth in the brain and all that.
Alright, see you guys later.